off my game this morning hearing this news.
What's that?
I feel off my game today hearing this news.
Just to warn everybody, I'm not wearing hearing aids, so.
Oh God, okay, and I'm deaf as a post.
You have 10 seconds, Mayor.
10? Uh-huh. Welcome, everyone, to Truro Town Council's meeting for Monday, February the 2nd, 2026. I just want to say this morning we received some very sad news of a citizen who was hit and killed in a private plow accident. Our sympathy on behalf of Truro Town Council and our staff are with the family and all involved at this very, very sad time. We'll now do a land acknowledgement. I, Kathy Henton, Mayor for the town of Truro, acknowledge your Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. We acknowledge the peace and friendship treaties and recognize we are all treaty people. We recognize African Nova Scotians are a distinct people whose histories, legacies, and contributions have enriched this part of Mi'kma'ki, known as Nova Scotia, for over 400 years. We recognize the Acadians who lived in harmony with the Mi'kmaq, whose communities across the province are a living testament to the fortitude of their ancestors who survived the Grand Derangement. Today, as both Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, we commit to seek harmonious and mutually beneficial relationships. We give thanks to the elders and knowledge keepers. Now we're going to go into a public hearing this afternoon. This is a public hearing for Monday, February 2nd, 2026 for 67 Inglis Place, PID number 20195442. This is a development agreement application. Has this been advertised, Mr. Dolter?
Yes, Madam Mayor, it has.
Okay. We'll now start with the report from the Planning Department. Then there'll be an opportunity for council to ask questions and persons in council chambers for their comments pertaining to this development. Is the representative with us on Zoom or?
Yes, I believe they're joining us by Zoom.
Okay.
Or by Teams, I guess it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who would that be?
It is, oh, geez, sir. Thank you.
Matthew Bishop?
Hi.
Hello. So Matthew Bishop, and what was the other name?
Matthew Bishop, Lucas McDowell, and Ethan Crossman, we're all here.
Okay. A whole trilogy of people joining us today. All right, so thank you very much. And our Director of Planning, Jason Fox, is going to be presenting today. So whenever you're ready, Mr. Fox.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So as you mentioned, it is a development agreement application. It is for 67 Inglis Place. It's an application by Factory 58 Holdings Limited. Application was originally made back in December 2024. The original proposal consisted of a 4-story building with 30 units, 30 dwelling units, and there was 3,500 square feet of 3,572 square feet of street-level commercial space and parking area for 21 vehicles. That proposal was recommended for approval by the Planning Advisory Committee in February 2025. And this is what the original proposal looked like back in 2025. So the 4-story building, commercial at grade. This would be a view of the subject property from the corner of Inglis Place and Esplanade. And then the applicant has since revised their proposal to include one additional story and additional units. They returned to the Planning Advisory Committee in November, or on November 24th, seeking approval for the revised proposal. The committee recommended in favor of a 5-story building with a setback 5th floor and rooftop amenity space. The application is now at step 4 of the town's development agreement application process, which looks like this. So we're at the point where we're having a public hearing today, and there'll be a decision by council following the public hearing during the regular council meeting. After that, it'll be there'll be a standard appeal period, and then it would proceed to the, if no appeals, it'll go to be signed and registered as a development agreement against the property. So this is just a aerial view of the subject property showing that it's 67 Inglis Place. It's an existing parking lot. It's bordered by Inglis Place, Havelock Street, and the Esplanade. The property is about 1,486 square meters in area, or about 16,000 square feet, or 0.37 acres. It has frontage on the Esplanade, 24.4 meters, or 80 feet, on Inglis Place, and 112 feet, or 34.1 meters, on Havelock Street. And on the Esplanade, it has about 160 feet, or 48.8 meters. Subject lands, another view of the subject property there showing the parking lot. Property is currently developed as a private parking lot for 43 vehicles. The site is entirely surfaced with asphalt. Property is situated at the heart of Truro's central business district and occupies a high-profile location in our downtown at the intersection of Inglis Place and the Esplanade, which are two major shopping streets in the downtown. The area is characterized by traditional commercial architecture with 2- and 3-story buildings that are situated at the street, so no setback, with the street-oriented commercial spaces, which results in a welcoming pedestrian environment. Notable exception is the Truro Center development across the street to the south, which is a 1-story shopping plaza setback from the street with a front parking area. This is another view of the subject lands. This would be looking from Inglis Place towards the east, and you can see the Truro Center in the background. Land use in the area are primarily commercial with office and professional uses, street level retail uses, and restaurants. There are a few residential uses on the upper floors. Other uses nearby include a large multi-unit residential uses on Victoria Street and on Forester, 1 block to the west. And this is just an excerpt from the town's policy map showing that the property, which is outlined in blue at the center, is in the downtown core policy area. It's also showing another map showing that the lands are actually zoned downtown core DC as well. This is the current proposal that's been recommended by Planning Advisory Committee. It's a 5-story mixed-use proposal, 35 dwelling units, 525 square meters of commercial space, and 192 square meters of rooftop amenity space. Some of you who do recall the original proposal that was approved by PAC or the Planning Advisory Committee, it included a breezeway, kind of courtyard, covered courtyard at the lower level at the street, which connected Esplanade to Havelocks to the parking lot off Havelock. That's been removed in this scenario. And instead, they're moving forward with a rooftop amenity space. So this is the ground floor plan showing the layout of the parking area off of Havelock. So this would be north, would be to the left-hand side. The Esplanade runs along the right-hand side of the screen, and the bottom of the screen would be Inglis Place. So the preliminary plans are for mixed-use development with 35 dwelling units, as I mentioned. So this is showing the ground floor area. It's an L-shaped structure, immediately abuts the sidewalk on Inglis and Havelock, Inglis Place and Esplanade, and also on Havelock. To the rear of the building, at the interior of the block, is the proposed parking area, surface parking, with off-street parking for 21 vehicles. Parking ratio is 0.7 spaces per dwelling unit, and the bylaw requirement would be 19 spaces, but the proposal has 21 spaces, so it meets the parking requirements the town would normally apply to as of right development. Parking area, as I mentioned, has direct access to Havelock Street. And aside from the terraces on the 5th floor, so there's a 5th floor step, the 5th floor of the building is stepped back, and you can see on this plan, it's a bit slow, apologies. Yeah, so there's actually a terrace around the outside of the building, if you can see where my mouse is pointing, on the 5th floor. So there's on the roof of the 4th floor, the 5th floor has access to a terrace that wraps around the building, and then there's also rooftop amenity. So aside from the terrace on the 5th floor, the design doesn't feature any balconies, but does include that 192 square meters or a little over 2,000 square feet of rooftop amenity space. So here's another view of another rendering of the proposed building from the corner of Inglis and Esplanade. So the proposal does include, let's see here, I'll go back to the, apologies. So the proposal floor plan here, what we're looking at is on the levels 2, 3, and 4, you're looking at each floor would have 1 studio or a bachelor unit, 6 1-bedroom units, and then 2 2-bedroom units. And then on the 5th floor, which is a bit smaller because it's stepped back a little bit from the facade, you have 1 studio bachelor unit, 5 1-bedroom units, and 2 2-bedroom units. See, that gives you your 35 units. And again, this is the rendering looking at the property from Inglis and Esplanade. Another, just a view showing a detail of the facade on Inglis Place. And how the facade ties into the existing structure. You can see the 5th floor is actually stepped back here, so it maintains a sort of common street or consistent street wall in terms of height at the street, but the 5th floor is stepped back. And then there's a detail showing some of the materials that are being proposed, which includes brick at grade, and then there's a corrugated metal material on the upper floors. So brick at grade, upper floors would be a corrugated metal. And just in terms of the enabling policy that allows council to consider this application, it is policy DC 74. Shall be a policy council within the downtown core or downtown policy area or the downtown core zone, consider new multi-unit residential development or new mixed-use development with more than 12 units by development agreement. In considering such proposals, council shall have regard for the evaluative criteria found in the planning documents in Chapter 14. And the application has been reviewed. There's a full details of that review are attached to the staff report as Appendix A. And just a quick note on that evaluation based on those criteria. The proposal aligns with many of the town's development policies, including increased residential densities in downtown, new dwelling units on existing infrastructure. There's an appropriate land use mix. It will contribute to pedestrian-friendly and vibrant streetscapes, and the proposal is expected to make a positive and welcome addition to the downtown core. And in terms of public engagement, public participation, we had a development application notice sign was posted on the property in January, or a new one. Information was posted on the town's website, has been all through the development application process, including the earlier versions of the proposals since well over a year now, or just a year now. There's a mail out to 47 property owners located within 150 meters of the properties that's an old one actually. There's been more recent ones since that, but there were 9 responses to the survey, and the survey results are shown there. So you have 8 in favor, or 89%, and 1 or 11% were opposed. And these are updated results as to February 19th of, actually, apologies, as of last week, those have been updated. So in terms of staff recommendation, that council enter into a development agreement with Factory 58 Holdings Limited to permit the development of a 5-story mixed-use development consisting of 35 dwelling units and 525 square meters of commercial space at 67 Inglis Place, with the PID number 20195442. So the recommendation from staff is to approve. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Director Fox. I'm now going to open up to questions from council. And up first, we have Councillor Wayne Talbot.
Yes, thanks, Jason. I just had one question. The rooftop amenity space, will that be public or is that private for tenants of the building?
Perhaps it could be best answered by the applicant, but my understanding is that it's private amenity space for the residents of the development. And I see them nodding that is correct, so.
Thank you, Councillor Talbot. Are there any further questions from council? Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for your presentation, Mr. Fox. I wanted to ask just some clarification about the lack of stormwater management plan. So this is because there's no change in the permeability of the lot, is what I believe I read in the report. Is that correct?
Sorry, yes, that is correct. There's basically you're going from 100% impermeable surface, which isn't changing, so there's no requirement to do a stormwater management plan.
So we have no concerns about the gutter systems or anything discharging onto the sidewalks. There's nothing that we look at there to make sure that we're protecting our infrastructure from runoff from the building.
When we reached out to the Public Works Department, that was the response, that we didn't require a stormwater management plan. As to the particulars of how those things will be dealt with, I'm sure they'll be dealt with at the building permit stage, and we'll do it in consultation with the Public Works Department.
Okay, and regarding building permits and such, and I believe I asked you this question before, but this will require a construction management plan, correct?
It will require one given its proximity to the streets, yes.
Okay, because that was one of the concerns I had heard from a business owner in the vicinity. Wanted to make sure that roadway access was preserved and they weren't going to have streets blocked for long periods of time that would prevent people from getting at. We may have to block a road at some point or another for some deliveries, I would assume, but we're not going to have long-term closures of local streets in order to enable this construction, correct?
I don't know the details of well, whatever will be a construction management plan ultimately. I don't have those now, so there may end up being a long-term closure of a street. I'm not prepared to respond to that now, but it would be done with, in consultation with the Public Works Department and our building inspectors, and we would come up with a plan for how that would be best addressed, and I'm sure we'd try to minimize any disturbance to the local street network.
Okay, thank you. And I see the gentleman on Zoom nodding along. Anything to add from any of you? I'm not going to call out anyone specifically, but if anyone feels able to answer. Nobody? Okay. Do you have questions for the developers, though, for representatives? Basically, it's just going to be a quick rehash of some of the questions that I've already asked at PAC, but I want them just on the record for the public hearing. So we have surface grade parking only. There's no below grade parking, correct? Yep, thumbs up. Perfect. And there's also going to be bicycle parking within the building, like a storage room and possibility for plugs for charging electric bicycles as well, correct?
Yep.
Okay, are we planning to add any sort of EV charging to the above-ground surface parking for cars?
We've had conversations of such. It's active and ongoing at this point in time, trying to figure out the feasibility of such.
Okay, and with regards to waste management, there is a garbage room on premises for the residents. Can you speak a little bit about how we came to determine the required size for that garbage room?
Well, as of right now, we haven't necessarily set the exact dimensions of it. However, we have been touring several developments here in Halifax to try to get an understanding of how large these waste rooms tend to be for the unit counts. But there are no code requirements specifically related to that, so we're trying to get a sort of real world understanding in terms of what projects are being built right now and how that will relate.
Okay, now that is a concern because I've lived in some buildings that did not have sufficient waste management facilities in place, and we were a mess, and certainly we do see some bylaw complaints a lot for dumpsters that are overflowing because people are not, the requirements were not, the expectations were not met. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Is there any plan to dedicate one of the parking spaces to car share?
Active conversations on such, working towards the feasibility. At the end of the day, it's up to the car share company and their market feasibility. So I have some inquiries out at this point in time, but can't necessarily confirm anything right now.
Okay, thank you. And I will add, I spend a lot of time on Inglis anyway, but I spent a lot of time on Inglis, especially this past Saturday, going into any business that would speak with me, and there's a lot of positive feedback from business owners in the area who see this as a positive. Obviously, they do still have some concerns about the loss of the parking spaces, but as I've explained to them and to anyone who will listen, we cannot hold private landowners responsible for providing free parking to the town. And I think that's a piece that's been missing. A lot of people assumed this was a town-owned lot, and that is not the case. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any further questions from council? Deputy Mayor Thomas.
Yeah, I've been through this project several times in committee, so I'm very familiar with it, and I've asked all the questions. But there was one question that I had and it's actually not for the developers, it's for the town planner, and it has to do with the landscaping. And of course, there's no area here to landscape on the property per se, but the town itself, when you go along English Street, there's perhaps an opportunity there. I would just wonder if you could comment on the fact that if this site is under construction, the sidewalks closed, is there an opportunity here for the town to invest in some sidewalk trees there along Inglis? Is that a possibility? Can we talk to the tree technician about that, perhaps? Is that an option?
I think given that it's our right of way, we could certainly investigate that. probably post-construction. We would look at,
You'd see it post-construction. The reason I'm bringing it up now, because I'd like to see something, the street's quite wide, and I think there is a possibility for such. And
I know we do have tree wells all along Inglis Place,
Yeah.
I believe in that section we didn't plant any trees, but I think there's still the opportunity to do so. So we could look at that after the fact, and I wouldn't want to see us put a tree in and get it damaged during construction. So
No, but
probably
I'm just thinking of the well, being
Yep.
put in at that time, so perhaps we could just look at it. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. I don't see any further questions, so at this point, I'm going to ask if there's anyone in the chamber who would like to make any comments. You have to come down and, just come down, Mr. Cassidy, and have a seat, and so everybody can hear you. And if you want to push the button, I'll light you up. No, right on the, there we go.
Thank you. My name is Frank Cassidy again. I'm wondering, has any consideration been given to the soil that's underneath the proposed development? It's a former gasoline station. Does that enter the equation? Because the soil is contaminated. It hasn't been cleaned.
We have environmental reports for that, and they have not given us any indication that there's problems with the site as of right now.
Has it been inspected?
Yeah, that's what those environmental
And
phase 1 and 2 reports are.
And they say
There's
there's no
several,
cause for
like,
concern.
Several test wells that were done as a part of the environmental reports.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cassidy. Are there any further comments from anyone in the chamber today? Okay. And any other further comments from council? One last ask. Okay. Yes, we have a comment. Please come down. Thank you. Just have a seat and push the button, and I will light the button for you. And if you could just identify yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Darcy Eisner.
Okay.
Nothing against this project. I don't want this to come across as a negative to this project, but in general, when I hear 21 parking spots, I assume that is all residential requirement. I believe there's a commercial requirement as well. Just want clarification on what that is.
Mr. Fox, do you want to address that?
there's actually no requirement for the commercial space in the downtown.
Yeah, there is public parking in the area, so that's considered to facilitate that. And parking on English Street itself, I do realize what Mr. Eisner's concern is obviously with overflow of residential tenants using his lot across the street, but there is, yeah, we don't have a commercial requirement for parking spaces.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Eisner?
It's not the answer we got last time we asked, but it may be the answer now. Okay.
Anything further you'd like to add, or?
No, I'll ask Jason directly.
Okay, thank you so much. Seeing no further questions, I'm going to ask 3 times. Are there any further questions? Second ask, any further questions? My third and final ask, any further questions? Seeing none, I declare this hearing for 67 Inglis Place is closed. We will now proceed to our public agenda for today. This is a public council meeting for the town of Truro for Monday, February 2nd, 2026. Mr. Dolter, are there any changes, omission, deletions to the agenda?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Seeing no changes to the agenda for February 2nd, 2026 is approved. Item 2 on our agenda is the minutes from the January 12th, 2026 meeting. The minutes were circulated. Does anyone note any changes in these minutes? Seeing none, the minutes from January 12th, 2026 are approved. Item 3, petitions, delegations, correspondence. Mr. Dolter, are there any?
None today, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Item 4A, request for decision, approval of non-union compensation system. Mr. Dolter, if you would.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So The non-union compensation process changes were discussed in camera with council on January 15th, 2026. So based on those discussions, Madam Mayor, the proposed motion is be it resolved the council approve the proposed changes to the non-union compensation system as presented.
Thank you. Council, are there any, I need a mover first. Councillor McGrath, seconder. Councillor Talbot. Are there any discussions on the motion just read? Seeing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is approved unanimously, Mr. Dolter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Item 4B, request for decision 67 Inglis Place, PID number 20195442. Mr. Dolter?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So a development agreement application by Factory 58 Holdings incorporated a permit for a 5-story multi-unit residential development consisting of 35 dwelling units and 525 square meters of commercial space at 67 Inglis Place. So, Madam Mayor, the proposed motion is be it resolved the council approve the request to enter into a development agreement with Factory 58 Holdings incorporating a permit to permit a 5-story multi-unit residential development consisting of 35 units and 525 square meters of commercial space at 67 Inglis Place, and that is PID 201-95442.
Thank you. I'm looking for a mover. Councillor Pryor, seconder. Councillor McGrath. Any discussion on the motion? Councillor Talbot.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify, and it's kind of a follow-up to Councillor McGrath's question, but if in fact after construction we found water runoff, it would then be the responsibility of the building owner to rectify that. I just want to make sure that's correct.
Basically, no more water can run off the site than currently comes off the site.
Right.
So that would be the responsibility to maintain that, and depending on the design, they may be dealing with stormwater a different way. Mr. Fox?
Yeah, and the draft development agreement will require that any connections to the town's infrastructure, so our stormwater system, would have to be approved by the town engineer's office as well.
Thank you. Okay, the motion has been, okay, Deputy Mayor, you have a question.
Yeah, just a comment. I sit on PAC, and I just want people to know, the public to know, that don't watch the PAC meetings, that this particular project's gone through a lot of scrutiny and for quite a few meetings and discussion, and I think that we've ended up with a very good project, so I'm supporting this project.
Thank you. Thank you. The motion's been made. It's been moved by Councillor Pryor. It's been seconded by Councillor McGrath. All those in favor of supporting this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? The motion is carried. Gentlemen, I think they've left us, have they? I was going to thank them, but anyway, I don't see them there, so.
We're here.
Okay. So thank you very much, gentlemen. And as you heard, the motion has been approved. So we wish you all the best and look forward to a wonderful project. And as I always say, be kind to our town, and we'll be looking for that, so it's good. So thank you very much for joining us today.
And Madam Mayor, just to
Yes.
reiterate, we always reiterate 14-day
Yes, we
appeal
have
period.
14-day
with the
appeal
approval.
period. So we just have to know that, okay?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're moving on. Item 4C is a request for decision, the Ford Street Park.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the African Nova Scotian Community Strategy Committee is pleased to report that the community-driven process to select the official name of the park at the corner of Ford and Roby Streets. The park is the site of the May 2025 installation led by the Nova Scotia Women's History Society, which honors 5 African Nova Scotian women educators and community leaders whose contributions have made Truro's culture and who have shaped Truro's culture and educational landscape. Following Council's direction, the committee led a process grounded in strong local engagement and adopted an approach consistent with the previous community naming initiatives. A public naming contest ran from December 1st, 2025 to January 9th, 2026, where members of the public could submit names rooted in history, unity, and the legacy of the African Nova Scotian women educators. The committee, along with members from the Community Enhancement Association, the Zion Baptist Church, then shortlisted four finalist names, and those were Sisterhood Park, the Marsh Community Park, Corner of Knowledge, and Repatriation Park. And they held a public vote on January 27th and 28th, 2026, with accessible voting options offered between January 21st and 23rd. After counting all the ballots, the results are as follows. The Marsh Community Park, 51.9%, Reparations Park, 25.9%, Corner of Knowledge, 14.8%, and Sisterhood Park, 7.4%. The chosen name reflects the deep historical and cultural significance of the marsh, and that it is not just a geographical descriptor. It is a name deeply rooted in Truro's African Nova Scotian history and identity. The submitted reasoning behind the name is as follows. I believe this name meaningfully reflects the history of the community, as this neighborhood has long been known as the Marsh. The street and surrounding areas were historically home to Black families who built a strong, close-knit community here. Over time, the neighborhood has changed, but its history remains significant in honor of the families who grew up here, the memories created, and the legacy this street represents. I believe this is important that this history be recognized and preserved. The name of the park, the Marsh Community Park, ensures the story of this community is acknowledged and not forgotten. For these reasons, and with the clear community mandate, the African Nova Scotian Community Strategy Committee respectfully recommends the Council officially adopt the name the Marsh Community Park. Madam Mayor, I do want to add as well, Vera Kleik's monument is also on that side, as well as the female educators. So I just don't want that to be missing from the description there. So Vera Kleik is also being honored by the plaques that are seated at the park. So based on that as well, there is attached for Council's review a letter from the co-chair of the African Nova Scotian Strategy Committee, Mr. Andrew Paris. And Andrew just basically outlines much of what I provided in the description within the request for decision. So based on those, Madam Mayor, the information provided, the proposed motion is be it resolved the Town Council officially name the park at the corner of Ford Street and Roby Street, the Marsh Community Park.
Thank you, Mr. Dolder. I'm looking for a mover. The Deputy Mayor, a seconder. Councillor McGrath. Any discussion on this motion? Councillor Talbot.
Yeah, I just want to say, because of the degree of interest in the name Reparations Park, when the committee narrowed the 16 names down to 4, Reparations Park was automatically put in there so that we could determine whether or not there was broad support from the public. Just want to make that clear.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification. And the people have spoken with their vote. And what we want to focus on as well is these exceptional women and this park is a beautiful, beautiful way of celebrating what they've done and looking forward to future great things at that park. So thank you very much. So it has been moved by Deputy Mayor. It has been seconded by Councillor McGrath. Is there any further discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the name, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, everyone. On our agenda next is our in-camera summary reports, and up first is our CAO, Mike Dolter.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. So the first area that I'll cover within my report is on governance. Talk first about the Central Nova Scotia Civic Centre Society, otherwise known as the Rec Society, and the NSPE site. So I, along with the CIO from the county, Mr. Dan Troke, and the senior manager from the Rec and the province and provincial representatives are working to deal with some of the issues with respect to the Rec and the NSPE site. Those discussions are ongoing. Again, as council knows, the new rec board met on Friday, And again, so that the new board is getting down to business now, and we hope to get things moving forward. The intent overall is to ensure that we have a continued positive operations for the rec, and to the degree that the board decides, and the NSP site as well. We're working with the province to allow events and activities to run and be supported on the NSP site. So again, those discussions are ongoing, and there should be more information coming back to the board and the councils shortly on that. A new operational agreement was approved last week to ensure the society board continues to be able to operate the rec. And again, that was, it took some time to get into place, but again, it's positive that that's been done. Further information will be provided to both the board and the rec as the information comes forward. As early this morning, in fact, we were working on some of the capital issues that have been identified, particularly with the Dectron unit where the pool was down for a couple of days. So we are looking at expediting repairs on that. And again, those have been long-standing issues. I think council is aware during capital we looked at those. And again, we're working with rec management to get those underway, as well as the getting RFPs issued for the replacement of the multi-stack unit, which obviously is concerning for all of us because it's a very key piece of the overall infrastructure for the rec. Committee and boards, I did have an update on the African Nova Scotian Strategy Committee and narrowing down the candidates for the vote that took place, so I won't bother doing that again since we just approved that through the request for decision. As far as staff and operations goes, new hire requests, we had a meeting on 17 January 2026. So Truro staffing levels within the various departments are established to be effective and meet our current operational needs. Over time, there are requirements for an increase in staffing to meet changing demands and to address areas that are not being effectively managed with existing staff. Certainly, as we move forward and we take on additional infrastructure, sometimes adjustments need to be made. In the past, there's not been a process to prioritize the needs to ensure that they're addressed where applicable. So we have put a process in place. The Director of Corporate Services, the Manager of HR, and I met to review and prioritize the departmental submissions. These will be discussed with departments and council as part of the budget process. So we have those requirements identified, and council can determine how we move forward through the budget process. Public transit financial analysis and the transit study. We have the final draft version of the public transit study, and that has been received and is being reviewed so that it can be finalized. Staff are developing a report and presentation for council based on the recommendations provided within that draft. The financial requirements of the recommended solution, if adopted, will have long-term implications for the town and county, as I think we knew, as there is not a transit system in Canada that operates on its own. They are all subsidized. Staff met to review the financial information provided as we start to develop a comprehensive overview for council to consider as part of the decision related to the plan, adoption, and implementation. We will be providing a recommendation for a joint council presentation so that both councils have an opportunity to discuss jointly on what's being presented, because obviously it is a decision that will involve both councils in order to implement and bring forward. And I guess from a public expectation perspective, this is going to take several years to implement, as there is still much to do in order to put a system in place should the councils agree to do so. As far as external partnership engagement, the Atlantic First Nations Water Authority agreement. So Millbrook First Nation has signed an agreement with the Atlantic First Nations Water Authority for its water and wastewater services. So the authority provided management for the water and wastewater services and works with the town on that. Because the town provides much of these services now, an agreement is being negotiated that will clearly delineate the responsibilities between the town and the water authority. The work of the water authority will assist the town in many respects with maintaining the system and services. However, we do need to have an agreement in place to make sure that we understand who has what responsibilities. So we'll continue to work with the authority to finalize that agreement. I hope to have a draft to present to council within the next month or so as we work to finalize that. TC-PEP meeting, so on January 20th, the mayor and I met with the CEO, the chair, and the staff from the TC-PEP, discuss the ongoing support and projects of the partnership. The CEO would like to work more closely with the town in several areas where they feel they have a role. I have spoken to staff to follow up with the CEO to discuss options and a strategy for future involvement where applicable. Again, this was separate from the usual update that the CEO does provide to council. However, we did talk about giving more frequent updates to council, so council has a better understanding on what TC-PEP is up to on behalf of the town. So again, we will work with the CEO to bring that forward. As far as strategic initiatives, communications, do want to provide some update on that. The report is provided to council with more detail that I'm going to cover here, but again, I'll just highlight some of the major, bigger issues. The Recover initiative for the Truro's Farmers Market. So the town continues to collaborate with the Recover initiative through its building transformation project to develop a retrofit study for the market hall on Yonge Street, which houses the Truro Farmers Market. Just so council is aware, the site inspection was completed in early January with the design workshop planned for February, so that is coming forward. Community Wildlife Protection Plan. In December, the town of Truro received funding from the Department of Natural Resources to undertake a community wildlife protection plan. So an RFP was issued on January 16, 2026 to hire a consultant to help facilitate the plan for the town. The RFP closes on February 10th, 2026, just so you're aware. Again, as always, we're very active on social media. With traffic water advisories and the different notifications for the different committees and public notices. So again, and we continue to assist the mayor with her monthly video series. And again, I think those are well received and provide good information. And again, additional posts, you can go through those. I won't read them now, but again, we have a very active social media, and I think for the most part it is well received. Again, list of the funding programs overview is provided for council's information there. Currently one outstanding. We're waiting for a few more projects to funding opportunities to open up, and once they do, we will be making an application. One of the ones that council's aware of, I'm sure, is the Build Canada, as we do have an application ready to go for one of our areas where we want to make sure we have some money to start increasing our development in the William Barnhill area. So again, that is my report, Madam Mayor, respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to, I think I skipped right over our in-camera summary reports. We do have an in-camera today, correct?
Yes, we do, Madam Mayor, you are right. We did skip over that, and I allowed you to do that, yes. So the in-camera summary, I'll just go through that. January 12th, we met on the legal issue. January 15th, there was a personnel issue. And on January 29th, we met again for another legal issue to be dealt with. So I do ask council to stay today for an in-camera meeting where there are 2 items on the agenda.
Thank you very much. Councillor, is there any questions for Mr. Dolder on his report? Councillor Talbot.
Yeah, I just have one. I know it wasn't on your report, but I'm a little curious about the deer call going forward. Will that be continued next year, or?
The hunt itself, it will be continued. We are looking for opportunities to expand, as I think we've discussed prior, in the urban area. The site we selected this year was very successful. We'll look at continuing that site and hopefully look at some recommendations for additional sites within the urban core that can be permitted by the province. So all the partners, I think, are very positive about the relationship, and it has been going well.
Thank you, Councillor Talbot. Deputy Mayor Thomas?
Yeah, I think I'm just asking a question that I already know the answer to because it just makes sense. But will Millbrook, when they do align with the Atlantic First Nations Water Authority, they will continue to use the town reservoir and also the municipal water treatment plant? Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah, so This arrangement is a little bit more complicated than some of the other First Nations because we have a utility in place and that, so we're working through some of those complications. But yes, they'll continue to use town water and they will continue to use the Colchester wastewater treatment plant as well.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you, Deputy. Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Dolter, for your report. A couple of quick questions. When we're talking about the transit study, and we're going to get our staff report presented, hopefully at this month's COW, is Council also going to be provided with the full version of the study for our more in-depth review?
Yes, well, we will be providing, once again, once it's the final version of it, it's still the final draft at this point, so that will be coming to council we'd like you to review that before we actually sit down. So again, there's a lot to take in from that.
Okay, and then we had also discussed last month about the fleet electrification study that was going to be circulated to council. Now, unless I've missed it, I haven't seen that. Has that been circulated?
Sorry, you're correct. We only have phase 1 of that completed right now, but I can circulate phase 1.
Okay, thank you. Also last month, we had, under our petitions, delegations, and correspondence, a letter from Hubtown Housing Cooperative. I don't see anything in this package about any follow-up motions or anything. Are we going to, do you require a motion from council in order to move forward on that request for tax exemption for the nonprofits providing affordable housing?
That's not really at this point. We don't currently have a policy in place that covers that. We have been following a process where new capacity is being created. We've looked at the possibility of tax exemptions. We have yet to actually issue a tax exemption for any properties that do public housing. So again, we don't have anything in place right now, nor has staff looked at to the point that we can honestly make a recommendation. Again, it's I think there's some things to discuss about that and what the implications of that could be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and there's also, I see no update on the CN crossing / not a crossing behind the Truro Center Mall. Do we have any updates on that?
I do not have an update at this point. We're reaching out to CN on that, but we're dealing with another issue with one of the developments there with CN over the last couple of weeks, but have not got any information back on the crossing. I was aware that they were working on something, but I haven't gotten an update on that. I will try to get a hold of them this week.
I think they have been, I don't think it's forgotten. I think that they are, I was speaking to our contact there, and they've got a few things in the air right now, and he will get back to us, I'm sure.
Okay, because that is something that is still top of mind for me and a number of my constituents. And then, Mr. Dolter, to the Recover Initiative, you had mentioned, sorry, a date. It slipped past me as I was, as you were speaking.
I believe it was just a site inspection, so there a design workshop is planned for February. We don't have a specific date at this point.
Okay, design workshop for February. Okay, thank you. And because that's something else I heard a lot of about on Saturday in my little walk down Inglis. A lot of people saying how much business gets driven toward Inglis Place from the farmers market. A lot of the businesses have noted that, people have said, oh yeah, I'm in here, I came in for the farmers market, now I'm looking around. So it's just want to make sure that's noted for the additional economic impact that the farmers market has for the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I see no further questions for Mr. Dolter, but you did such a good job on that report. Mr. Dolter, I'm going to let you take over and do the corporate services report, because our director, Ms. Russell, is unavailable to be here today.
No, she's not available today, so I will cover the financial side of this. So corporate service report for January 2026. The attached financial statements provide an overview of the financial position of the town, operations up to the end of January 2025. So from revenue, as of the end of December, total revenue is $39.4 million, representing 98.9% of the annual budget, and $2.9 million higher than this time last year. Revenue is recognized when invoiced, and most accounts are fully invoiced for the year. The timing on other accounts can vary, some being billed monthly, quarterly, or as expenses are incurred. The attached financial report contains comments to help explain some of the line items. So again, council can review those, and I'll try to answer any questions, and if not, I'll get Ms. Russell to get back to you. Expenses, as of the end of December, total expenses amounted to 28.4 million, representing 71.1% of the annual budget 9 months into the year, and is 1.5 million higher than this time last year, which is in line with expectations. The financial report contains comments to help explain the variances to budget as well in the expenses. So from a capital update, the capital budget report is also attached. Values in this report are shown at total cost. However, some of these purchases will be partially funded by grants. 5.5 million, or 42% of the 13 million adjusted budget, has been spent as of December 31st, 2025, and there is a detailed report in there that explains where some of those projects stand. The tax accounts receivable. So total taxes for the year were 31,112,380. In 2024, that was 30,081,237,000. Outstanding, I'll just do 2025. Outstanding right now is $1,397,901, which provides a percentage of 4.5%. 4.5% of the total taxes were outstanding as of January 26, 2025, compared to 3.7% in the same time last year. 6.2% of the tax outstanding at December 31st, 2025. This number is expected to decline as the year progresses, as there is many people on payment plans. So again, we do expect that number to be reduced. Tax collection efforts are fundamental to the town's financial health. Staff ensure reminders are sent to property owners monthly, and they continue to work with property owners, offering payment arrangements and educating them on payment options. Each year, the town actively follows the Municipal Government Act regulations with regards to tax sale process, which is the final step to tax collection process. The town continues to receive a green light on tax collection efforts as it relates to the Provincial Financial Condition Index. And again, I think we do well compared to other towns in Nova Scotia following our tax collection process. Budget 2026-27. Department heads finalized their expense budgets and long-term capital plans last week, and Finance has been busy meeting with each director one-on-one. Before consolidation, the budget reviewed with the CAO on February 25th. We will review the consolidated budget with senior staff on February 9th, and meetings to review with council have been set up for March 4th and 5th. And of course, additional meetings will be put in place for council if they are required. As far as procurement goes, the following awards were issued in the past quarter, so that's October to December. Again, there is a list there for projects, Jamie Shepherd Playground, with Cobequid Consulting, $142,000, Sioux Hauling renewal, that's supposed to be salt, I realize that now. Salt hauling renewal, DG Trucking, $78,000, snow and ice removal, aka property management, $39,600, Half-Ton Truck, Blakey's Dodge, $60,927, Half-Ton Truck, Bruce Auto, $53,580, and then street side hazardous tree contract with Urban Roots Trees for $55,350. That is Ms. Russell's report. Madam Mayor, respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to tweak something in my memory there when you mentioned the Jamie Shepherd Memorial Park. As you know, we're not allowed to accept fees for speaking under the MGA, so I just want to clarify that someone did give me a check when I went to leave a speaking engagement, not knowing what it was, and that has been donated. I've donated that to the Jamie Shepherd Memorial Park, so just as with the new playground equipment coming in there.
Yeah.
Are there any questions on the financial report for Mr. Dolter? Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Dolter, for Ms. Russell's report. Just on what we're talking about, the taxes, and the collection the statement there, the tax collection efforts are fundamental to the town's financial health. Just, is there a major impact to those tax collection efforts or the total revenue from the town when we are demolishing some of the more derelict buildings? Like, there have been some demolitions happen. I assume that the building, derelict though it may be, is still considered to be worth more than just the land under the way things are set up. Would you have any insight into those impacts, sir?
Well, correct. I mean, obviously, even a derelict building does have an assessment provided with PVSC, and there is a tax requirement to pay based on that assessment. Once a building is taken off a property, the site is reassessed, and then becomes, an infill property or vacant land. And there would be a decrease in, until that building is built upon. It may take over a tax year for that to happen, depending on the timing of the demolition. But there is an adjustment made.
Okay, and especially for any that are downtown, which would be considered more prime property, and I will admit I haven't dug a ton into this, but there have been other considered methods of tax use, like the land use, where it would provide a higher value on a vacant land in the downtown core, for example, because it would be considered to be more valuable. Has the town ever looked into alternate methods of taxation like that?
We looked at different options. Typically, infill land like this will move fairly quickly. So again, we haven't had to have anything in place over the long term because either most of our vacant land downtown is either our parking lots, or they come down and then they're replaced, and then again there's an assessment within a certain period of time. And there are partial assessments that are already done as buildings are being constructed, depending on the situation. So no, we haven't looked at a different tax, and again, we'd have to look at the legalities under the MGA on coming up with different tax systems for vacant property in order to. I guess you're asking about encouraging development on it?
Encouraging development, and you're right, that may be a provincial thing, it may not be municipal, but I was wondering if it's ever been discussed.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, we very much are restricted on the MGA on what we can do as far as some of our innovative tax strategies. It's only been recently, in fact, that we've been able to provide any type of tax relief on, depending on the circumstances, like for nonprofits and things like that. It was very, very strict for a while. We have been given some latitude, but cases like that, I'm not aware of anything that we can alter.
Okay, so for tools that are in our toolbox, would we be able to use an area rate on a vacant land in order to try to, again, encourage development and remove vacant lands from the downtown?
I'd have to look into that. I can't answer it for sure at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Talbot.
Yes, Mr. Stoller, the public grant application process closed January 31st, and I know the approval will be part of the budget exercise over the next couple of months, but the grants that are approved, that money would be released perhaps in April at the earliest, I would think?
Yes, they wouldn't typically the budget will be approved in the first meeting in April. Once council's approved that budget, we can start releasing the grant amounts that have been approved as part of that process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Seeing no further questions, we're going to move on to our next report, and that is our Fire Services Report with Chief Blois Curry. Chief.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to Council. For last month, we received 85 alarms, 5 fires, 1 flue fire, 1 car fire, 8 fire alarms, 8 motor vehicle collisions, 2 frozen broken pipes, 58 medical calls, and 1 rescue in Victoria Park. The fire inspector's report for the month was 5 inspections, 5 follow-up inspections, 4 investigations, and 1 alcohol and gaming inspection. Training for the month, we trained on door breaches, ladder rescues, and bailouts. And before I submit it, I would like to thank all council for showing up on Saturday night for our banquet. It was noticed and appreciated. Respectfully submitted.
Well, thank you very much. We had a wonderful time, and we were also joined by Minister Ritzy and Member of Parliament Alana Hurdle, and they enjoyed themselves very much as well. So we have huge support for our Truro Fire Service, and congratulations to all the officers who were recognized and received awards that night. Deputy Mayor, I see you're up for a question.
Yes, under firefighter training, bailouts.
Yeah, sorry, I do make them brief, but one of the things that we do is we train in the event that there is a flashover or a fire in a room, we train on how to bail out through the windows safely.
Okay.
So that we can get down to the ground and to a safe location.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. I see no further questions. We'll be moving on to Director Fox with his report from Planning and Development.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is Planning and Development Report for January 2026. In terms of planning projects, the first one there is the update of the town subdivision bylaw, which continues to be ongoing. The other project which I was asked for an update for on last month that I neglected to put in here but should be in here is the 3D flood visualization tool that I believe I was asked about last month's meeting. So just in terms of that, what that's all about is it's a mapping tool that creates a detailed 3D model of flood scenarios in the Truro Colchester region, and that would be available to a tool available online where you can run scenarios, or users can run scenarios for floods to certain levels to see which areas would be flooded. This is a joint project with the County of Colchester. It's currently underway. The consultant 3D Design Wave has created a demo version which staff reviewed and provided feedback, and we're currently waiting on a updated version of that software. And the next thing there is planning applications. We currently have 7 applications that are active, one at 656 Yonge, one at 373 Roby, one at 67 Inglis, one at 37 Braemar, one at Rexdale Ford Marshland, one at McClure's Mills and Lower Truro Road, and one at 423 Roby Street. Rezoning applications, we have one that's active at 7 Alice. Planning Advisory Committee was canceled due to weather this month, so some of those applications are the Roby Street, the Alice Street rezoning, and what was the other? There was one other one that were delayed due to that weather, so some of the statuses there haven't changed as a result of that. Site plan approval applications, we have 4, one at 161 McLean, one at 9 McLean, one at 43 Willow, and one at 158 Queen Street. Building statistics for the month of January 2025, we were at $1,821,469. January 2026, we were at $587,904. Bylaw enforcement activity for the month of January 2026, we had 34 active files, and 11 of those have been resolved. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Director Fox? Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Fox, for your report. I expect you to kick this over to Mr. Dolter, but I will ask you anyway. Do we have an update on the affordable housing framework that we are trying to work on with the county?
I don't have anything new to offer on that, no.
And again, I've been in discussions with, again, with the county. Do need to pull in the provincial reps. Just honestly haven't had an opportunity to make the call yet, but I do have to reach out to a couple of provincial officials to figure out who exactly we need to call and bring in on the file. So I'll, again, with the CN one, I'll also try to make that call this week.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Fox, for that report. And we're going to move on to our Truro Police Service report. I'm sorry, my apologies, Councillor Talbot.
No, I just wanted to make the comment in terms of the updating of the bylaws. I think we do have an issue in town with sight lines at some of the intersections that our current bylaws do not address. So I'd like to see that as a part of the review.
Thank you, Councillor. Oh, your microphone.
Particularly those ones where there are hedges and high hedges involved, because I really do believe it presents a safety issue.
I agree. Thank you very much. And now we're going to move on. Chief, your day didn't start great this morning, but we appreciate you and TPS, and if you could now give us your report.
Thanks, Mayor Hinton. The report for January is as follows. We had 20 traffic collisions for the month. We issued 166 motor vehicle tickets for breach of the Motor Vehicle Act, 31 road safety check stops, 22 noise and bylaw type complaints. There were 3 impaired driving investigations, 1 Controlled Drug and Substance Act investigation, 138 other provincial acts like Liquor Control and Trespass Act. There were 70 mental health wellness checks, 18 charges for violating court orders, 8 crimes against person investigations, 15 assaults, 17 thefts, 1 disturbance or property damage complaint. There were 4 frauds, 51 suspicious person or vehicle calls, 42 alarm calls, and 94 calls for other police assistance, for a total of 701 calls. 159 of those resulted in charges. There were 159 parking tickets issued. Overwhelmingly, the majority were winter ban parking, so we just remind people not to park on the street between 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. to prevent getting a ticket. And also 46 speeding offenses respectfully submitted.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief? Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chief, for your report. This is for all January of 2026, but I'm just considering that we had a report from you on January 12th. Does this include all of January, or is this just January since the January report was submitted in, the January 12th report?
I think it's the month of January, but I can check.
The full month?
I think so, but I can check. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, thank you.
So, I'm just confused. What report did you say we submitted on the 12th?
So we had public council meeting on January 12th, and I assume that date, the report for that meeting would have included December 1st up to
No, that was for December. This is for January.
That was just December, so this is all of January.
Yeah,
Okay,
you got
thank
it. Yep.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Chief. We're now moving on to our Public Works report. So Director Oliver, deputies, always late with the buzzer.
No,
Yeah.
always on time with the buzzer. Chief, I just wonder if you could comment on these mental health calls. There's 25 during the month of January, and it seems to be, been on council for 5 years, and they continue to, to be here every single month. And, I realize that for the police service, not maybe trained in mental health issues as much as others, but could you just comment on where we're going with that? Because I know there's been some talk with the province, et cetera, and trying to change how we approach mental health needs in the community. So could you just give us a brief on that?
Yeah, so we are trained in mental health response. We have 18 officers that are trained as crisis intervention officers, and that's training through Department of Health. Not ideal, so we really probably shouldn't be the first responders to these things, but unfortunately, with the medical system the way it is and the healthcare system the way it is, police continue to play a role in this. So we felt that since we are playing a role in it, we might as well be trained appropriately. So I just want to put that on record. We do have 18 officers, frontline officers, trained as crisis intervention specialists. So
that's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, these calls are fairly common, and there's not much else I can say about it. There's lots of talk at the provincial level, but it comes with funding and staffing and resources, which.
But that's not moving forward at all. That
No,
you're
not
aware
that
of.
I'm aware of. No,
Yeah.
not if it is, it's very slowly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Now we're moving on to Director Browning for your report, please, for Public Works.
Thank you very much, Mayor Hinton. I trust everyone had the opportunity to read my full report. At this time, I will provide the monthly highlights for the month of January. Department staff are in the project planning phase of the town's 2026 street recapitalization work that utilizes the road preservation tax funding that we received. We're starting to match up scope of work from streets identified from our asset management program, comparing it to available budgets for 2026 to make street selections this year. Planning and design work is complete on the department's renovation of its office space. 2 new offices will be created within the area of the department on the 2nd floor within Town Hall to house the operations engineer / traffic authority and our new project engineer. Also, 1 new office will be created to house the department's senior engineering technician. The project also includes the construction of 1 new office on the 1st floor to house the manager of strategic initiatives and communications, happening to sit beside me right now. The project is currently out to tender. We are expecting that construction will commence the latter part of this month in February. The work associated with the infilling of the ponds awarded to Dexter Construction Company continued in January, once the ground on the site stiffened up from initial frost penetration. Pardon me. The work will progress through early winter to be able to be complete in a timely manner. Fine grading and finished landscaping is planned to be completed this coming spring. Water crew responded and effectively repaired one water main line break during the month of January. Transportation Services crew continue with the department's snow and ice operations throughout the month of January. Staff continue to progress the department's asset management plans and programs as time permits. This information, once all compiled and assessed, will be used to formulate the department's future 5-year capital budgets. Department staff are working on completing a traffic study on the intersection of McClure's Connector, James Street, and Lower Truro Road in response to concerns expressed regarding the geometry as well as wait times at this intersection, with the intent of identifying options for improvement. Data has been acquired and is currently being compiled for analysis. Department staff completed condition rating and expected useful life assessments on the department's fleet inventory in January. The results of these assessments will be used for capital planning for the 26-27 fiscal year as well as future fiscal years moving forward. Our department, together with the Department of Corporate Services, still plan to commission a water rate review study to review our water rates to determine if any rate changes are warranted. As part of this work, a review of the business model of the town's bulk water operations continues, so to improve the administration of the bulk water accounts to expand its customer base and revenues efficiently and effectively, as well as having a full property condition assessment commissioned on the water treatment facility. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Director Browning? Councillor Pryor.
Thank you. Mr. Browning, I've had a lot of complaints about cars parking close to stop signs and crosswalks, impeding visibility. And I know we put up no parking signs, but they tend to park close on another street. So the people are wondering if there's a solution that can be offered. I have 4 questions, but that's one of them.
Thank you, Councillor Pryor. I guess what I'll say is that it seems the concerns are, and rightfully so, the parking proximity to intersections, stop signs, crosswalks, that type of thing. So the Motor Vehicle Act specifies vehicles can't be parking any closer than 10 meters, which is approximately 30 feet from intersections or stop signs. It also specifies that you can't go any closer than 5 meters or 15 feet from crosswalks unless parking stalls are defined otherwise. I guess at this point in time, what I would, suggest, and I'll call it, a gentle reminder, is that if anyone notices that vehicles are parked closer than, say, 30 feet to intersections, I would ask them to reach out to our Truro Police Services, and this is indeed an enforceable matter, and so that would be, I think, in the immediate or whatever the thing to do. We've been talking about some what options we may have or whatever to kind of further make obvious that where the distances are. That's continues to be in the works.
Thank you. Question number 2. Now that Digger's Cafe is open, the amount of children visiting the place, what are the chances of having LED lights installed on Prince Street to make it safer at that location?
So this coming year, what we'll see during our budget deliberations or whatever for this coming fiscal year is we're going to put forward a number of these type LED lights that you see, the solar-powered ones, for various areas within town. I think with this particular crosswalk, when we did our traffic counts, pedestrian and vehicle traffic counts on Prince and Queen Street this past summer, that crosswalk at the time actually was one of the lesser used crosswalks on Prince and Queen. Now we recognize too that Diggers wasn't open at the time or whatever, now that it is, so that probably does present a little more pedestrian traffic just with the interest in that shop. The approach we're taking is the ones that we found were of more higher use. You notice we put out the crosswalk flags. Those were the ones we were eyeing of putting the LED lights on those. And if we go and continue there, we may look at a few more other LED ones, budget permitting perhaps. But the plan was that essentially if we go and replace the crosswalk flagging with the LED ones, we'll move those flags to other ones of importance.
Thank you. Maybe we could consider that where the children, if it continues to be a hot spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And another question is about the potholes.
Okay.
When do we start filling them?
Permanently, you mean? I mean,
There's a few big ones.
Yeah. We are certainly chasing them right now. I mean, they seem to be forming at a disturbingly high rate. The problem with this time of year with the weather as it is, we really are limited with any kind of permanent solutions to potholes. So we're basically filling them with cold patch asphalt a lot of the times, which unfortunately that may get kicked up if it's a high traffic street and suddenly the pothole reappear. Yeah, I wish I could give you a more definitive answer as far as being able to go and get on top of it. I mean, the other thing I will say, I mean, we're also being mindful of the condition of the streets may present themselves in this coming spring, coming out the other side of this winter. I mean, we've all experienced it. It's been quite challenging so far, and in fact, even I think between mid-December and early to mid-January, we had spring 4 times, and which doesn't really help the cause either. So it's something to be mindful of as we're going into budget deliberations as well.
So people should drive slow?
I would suggest that people be a little more careful out there. I wish we could predict when they're going to be forming, but we can't. And so, yeah, that's one thing certainly helpful.
Thank you. And my final question is, since we just had a development approved on the corner of Havelock, it was due to be restructured. Will that be put on hold now?
It's unknown. We still have it planned to be done this year. I mean, it's been, this has been, I guess, on the books or whatever before even I got here, and it's been just kind of been set aside. It's going to be dependent, I think, on the, I guess how fast the building and development permit process goes with this particular project, when they apply, what that looks like, and then even what their construction schedule looks like. I know our preference would be is to have this completed this year just because it has been delayed. And as long as there's, I think, enough breathing room between the start of that development of the corner and our work, we should be okay.
So it could possibly still go on?
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pryor. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Browning, for your report. Just wanted to ask a little bit, we were talking about, just follow up on Councillor Pryor's points about the parking and how we put up some no parking signs and people are just sort of moving elsewhere. I mean, obviously, I don't want to just blanket the town with signs. When people get their license, they're supposed to know 30 feet or 10 meters from from an intersection, from a stop sign, et cetera. I've only been saying this for 2+ years, but maybe we could put in some barriers of some sort to narrow the road to prevent people from being able to park there in the first place, because this is what I see as our best cost-effective means for controlling undesirable behavior is to just encourage the more desirable behavior and make it more difficult for the undesirable behavior to occur. Do we have any plans to put in even just temporary barriers of some sort, just to be, as a tester, low-cost solutions, keep things adaptable in order to address some of these concerns?
No.
Why not?
I don't believe that would be an effective solution. If we eliminate street side parking altogether, which is what it kind of sounds like you're leading to, there's still going to be parking that's going to be needed. How is that going to be accommodated if we're just eliminating everything?
Well, we don't have to eliminate everything, but we could eliminate within the, 10 meters of a stop sign. That could be like the neck downs that we have along Prince Street. Those could be widened a little bit more to prevent that parking.
And if,
for example, but again, using, low-cost solutions like they use in Halifax. They got the little small concrete curbs with the reflective posts, things of that nature to help guide us on where the best bang for the buck is in more permanent solutions.
I gotta say, I completely misunderstood that. I thought you were wanting the whole bloody street narrowed.
I mean, if that's where you want to go, I won't complain.
No,
it would solve our winter parking ban issues.
To your point or whatever, we actually have been looking at what we could do or whatever at intersection is the prime example. Whether we look at the bump outs, a physical thing, or whether we just stop short and have something as far as street paint, as far as hexed. Street paint's obviously the least costly, and it is a visual barrier, and so for enforceability or whatever, it's something that can be easily seen. The downside is this time of year, you can't see it very well.
Yeah.
So no, that is actually, as far as the intersections go, and even crosswalks in some instances or whatever, we're kind of giving some thought. It's like, okay, how far can we go that's reasonable, cost effective, and yeah, no, we are.
Okay, excellent.
Not the whole
That's
street,
good.
though. Just not the whole street.
And I will say that I know that some municipalities will have a painted curb. They'll paint it yellowed in order to delineate, like, this, you can't park here. Again, not so useful this time of year.
Right.
Which does bring me into my next question, is I've had a lot of complaints about the plowing, unfortunately, this, especially today, getting a bunch of emails that it seems like the East End has not seen a sidewalk plow yet. Do we know if there were some issues with the sidewalk plows? Were they, some damages they weren't able to get out?
No,
No?
we're just essentially, we're getting to the now, and actually just as an update as far as the sidewalks go, just with the nature of the weather event that we've had or whatever. This one here had more blowing and drifting snow than what the previous ones have had. And so if they aren't out yet, the plan was this afternoon was they were going to put the snow blower attachments on the sidewalk plows to be able to cut through this better. So they'll go through or whatever and clear the sidewalks that way, and then follow up again or whatever with the plow attachment.
Okay.
So we are getting to them, and actually just, I guess I'll share this just for some perspective here, is just as far as what this winter has been so far. Just from mid-December to the end of January, our crews have worked a cumulative amount of overtime hours of 388 hours. So that's everyone. That's just that's a month and a half. So that works out to approximately 43 hours per week per person on average. And so when you start thinking about this, I mean, that means over 80-hour work weeks for some of our crews. Now, it's been a very challenging and difficult period of time. It just seems like every single Sunday and Monday or whatever, it feels like we have a weather event, a winter event, and hopefully we're coming out the other side of it very soon so this can tame down. But it's just for some perspective as far as what we do, what we can do with what we have is where we're at, and we're still running in an extreme amount of, a large amount of overtime just to be able to try to keep up to the extent that we are.
Right. And I think Mr. Dolter wants to.
Yeah, and just on that, just to further on that, there is actually words within the collective agreement that restrict the number of hours we can actually have operators operating, and then we have to rest them. So it's kind of it's a little bit of witchcraft and magic too, because you got to figure out when you need to rest them so that they're available when we really do need them.
Yes.
So again, it's not an excuse, but the weather conditions make it challenging. Obviously, we have to get the hours in. We got to provide the service level, but there are restrictions on how many hours the operators can work. So again, we're trying to balance that through. But again, it may, we keep saying just wait. We will get to it, and understand that people may have to be challenged a little bit with the conditions for a little bit, but we will get to it. And if there's anywhere we miss, obviously we do want people to let us know. But again, they're working hard to get everything done. But again, we are dealing with a lot of hours and restriction on operating time.
And it's just to further, build on what Mr. Dolter said too. Not only is it our collective agreement, but also the Occupational Health and Safety Act that actually speaks to some of these things as well, as far as fatigue and that type of thing that we have to be mindful of. And So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure crews are happy with a little bit of overtime. 80-hour work weeks is a lot. That is absolutely a lot to ask.
Yeah.
But I mentioned this to you, Mr. Dolter, the other day, but I'll mention it here again publicly. Is there any chance of either hiring additional staff or training additional staff, training existing staff to help backfill in order to provide some respite for those crews who are doing these 80-hour work weeks?
There's something that we may need to start looking at what kind of form that takes, but I mean, just like anything else, it takes money. And, you know, if we're gonna hire additional staff, whether it be seasonal or whether it be, you know, permanent full-time, there's gonna need to be an increase in our budgets or whatever to be able to go and afford that type of thing as well. And so that's something I guess we are gonna need to go and take a look and just see, okay, is this, if we need to go and I guess, maintain or improve level of service with, say, our snow and ice operations, what's that going to look like and what kind of cost is that going to bring to it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, yes, we can always hire more staff. Yes, we can always buy more equipment, but it is a challenge. And,
Yeah.
and thrown in there that we haven't even talked about, some of the people that are operating equipment are also the people that are fixing water breaks and everything else. So we have a water break or something like that. They're not available to operate equipment, but we have to deal with the water break immediately.
Yep.
Another thing that happens, and I'm expecting, Mr. Browning and I haven't talked about it, but amount of use our equipment's going through is we have we end up with equipment off-road. So that presents a problem, and then we can't plow. So it is complicated. We're looking at service levels now as part of our overall review. And that's something we'll talk to council with during, you know, the budget process. Difficulty is you have a rough winter like this, lots of hours. We can have another winter like last year. We did a lot of salting, didn't do a lot of plowing.
Yep.
So then you have we had still had hours, but it wasn't as challenging. So again, it just depends on the season, and sometimes we just have to bear with it. And if we were consistently at, 40 hours a week in overtime, then obviously we would look at additional staffing if we could. But then again, additional staffing would require additional equipment. So again, it is a process, so.
Well, and especially looking at the condition ratings for all of the fleet, there seems to be an awful lot of red in some of those charts. That is concerning, especially coming up to budget time.
Yep.
Councillor Pryor mentioned that we had just approved another development agreement downtown, subject to the appeal process and such. When we talk so much about having these walkable communities and these walkable developments, that planning advisory is really trying to prioritize. That's what that's where the future lies. But if we are not following up with, the sidewalk plowing, if we're falling short of the expected standards, that's going to be a major concern. So if we want the walkability, that's something we need to consider as a council. We need to consider going forward into these budget deliberations. Do we need more equipment? Do we need more staff? Do we need whatever solutions are being presented to us by staff for consideration? Yeah.
Wait for the budget.
Yes.
We're moving on here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. We're going to move on. We've got two in the queue. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor. Mr. Browning, just this discussion about not parking within 10 meters, is that correct?
Yes.
Some communities, and I'm not sure if we have it or not, and this is my question, on the stop sign it says in small print at the bottom, it says no parking within 10 meters. Does that exist in our stop signs?
I can't recall or if it does or not, but certainly not a bad idea.
If it doesn't, that would be, I think, a solution, and then just ticketing those that disobey the stop sign.
It does, what I'll mention too, or whatever, just as a bit of an aside, Chief McNeil, our traffic authority, Mr. Benson, myself, whatever, planning kind of getting together in the very, very near future just to, coordinate our efforts with these kinds of things, what we can do to help the police service with enforcing some of these rules and what they can do to help us with the things that we do. The challenge is that if we put, Chief McNeil, you could probably chime in on this as well, but when we put a sign up at the stop sign that says don't park within 10 meters, 30 feet, somebody has to recognize what 10 meters and 30 feet is. be able to.
Well,
see-
I
be
think
able to
that if
see
they had a
it's not-
driver's license, I think if they had a driver's license, they should be.
They should. No, they should. No, my point is though, it's just being able to go and enforce it or whatever, to be able to visually see that that car is 30 feet away, that car is 20 feet away. That's one of the things where, to Councillor McGrath, discussing like physical barriers, that's where this kind of helps or whatever, where it is something at least visual that you can see, okay, this car is 30 feet away.
Okay.
I think the big thing is, it's in the Motor Vehicle Act now. If people see people parking too close to the intersection, call us.
Right.
Simple. I don't know
It's an
why we're
offense.
debating all these fixes, but
Right.
ticket should be the deterrent. So if you see people that are parking, or you have constituents call you, say there's an ongoing parking issue at a certain street, call us and we'll look into it. And if
Right.
there's a violation, we'll issue a ticket, and hopefully people will get the message, and we'll see how we do from there.
And I certainly see that as a solution. I thought maybe a little education too as to why you might want not, you shouldn't be parking there because the sign says. I just want to move on though. The Argus Ball Field, there was no indication as whether the athletic portion of the project has that contract, performance of the contract completed.
Page 5.
Yeah, but it, I looked, okay, so it is there.
So what we're into, so what we're into, see,
It's
the
100%.
actual ball field contract itself
Yes.
is indeed complete.
Thank you.
So there's still a little bit of odds and ends around the periphery, but the actual contract, the construction contract for the facility is complete.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Browning. Mr. Browning, the ranking of streets, you know, they go poor, fair, et cetera. Is that online that people can take a look at where their street ranking is?
Can't remember if it's still back up there or not, but that's our sort of plan, I think, once,
Because
kind of the timing of it, because I think we always used to put it up, and it's it's an annual evolving one, because we usually try every year to reevaluate condition, at least in part. Like this past year, we went and focused in on streets with ratings of poor to see if they deteriorated to very poor.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah. So once, we looked at it, and it's pretty much self-explanatory. Once you hit very poor, there's no sense looking at them again because they ain't getting any worse.
Yeah.
But, it's an evolving thing every year that we do update those, and so.
Right. And I'd just like a list of those, because we used to get that in the past, I think, Mr. Dolter, that was provided to council, a list of the streets and their rankings, and I'd just like to have that, if possible.
No, we certainly do that, and Deputy Mayor Thomas, we were certainly going to share that with you and council during our budget deliberations.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's great.
Yep.
Three,
So just, if I could, so the street rating is on there for April, is from April of 2024.
okay.
So again, so it is, I think we're just redoing them now.
Well, they've been updated in-house. So those are, those are almost 2 years old right now,
Yeah.
just to put in perspective here, so.
So yeah, the hope is when we go into budget deliberations, we will have a list of priority streets, at least what we're planning on paving.
Right.
And those ratings. So
Yeah, and that's what I want it for. So when we
Yeah.
go into budget, I'm aware of what
Yes.
streets are the poorest in town, et cetera.
Yep.
And the rationale behind why we might do maintenance on one street rather than another.
Yep.
The municipal storm sewer and municipal sanitary sewer, you've got these in your report, which, by the way, I really enjoy your report. I think your report's really well done.
Well,
and
thank you. Thank you.
allows me to have a better understanding of where things are at. So the phase 4, you often you report things in phases, and you say phase 4 is the review level of service and community needs. And I was just wondering for the municipal storm sewer system and also the sanitary sewer system. Can I see those at some point when they're done? Can we have a report of those so I know where the community needs are and the level of service, or is that just for in-house?
Oh, certainly. No, it's, Mr. Dolt or whatever, we could put presentations together for committee of the whole if we'd like.
Yeah, because we've had a report done on this, on the, certainly on the water system. We do have some information on our sewer as well. So yeah, the intent would be to report back to council on that and talk about water capacity, because I know it's been an issue in the past, people talking about our water capacity. So we can outline that to council and then. talk
Right,
about
just
the
where our
system.
stormwater management system's at, as far as, just the whole network of, the labyrinth of pipes and stuff, right? I'd just sort of be interested in that. The last question is, and Mr. Dolter, you might best answer this. This has to do with the rec and the reports. I really like the reports, as I said, and I would like to see, if possible, going forward, there's going to be some capital expenditures at the rec, and I'm just wondering if we could have it in this format as to where we're at as far as the capital asset, you know, verifying the update of data and where we're at with it as far as getting things done, et cetera. I think it would be very helpful for council to understand that, because I just see some major capital expenditures required at the rec, and I think it would be good for all of council to understand where we're at with it. And yeah.
Yeah, the previous board did request that an RFP be issued on feasibility on a facility assessment overall. So we're going to be issuing an RFP on that shortly to bring in somebody to actually take a look at the physical structure. And we are working with the rec management as well too, to identify. We do have a preliminary list, uncosted at this point, of projects that need to be done. Now they're not phased; they're just a list of projects. So again, those are ones that have to be costed and brought to the councils to review, and we can make some decisions on what we're going to tackle first. There are a couple that have been are at the forefront now that will have to be dealt with sooner than others. But yeah, we'll bring a presentation to both councils so they can review and hopefully a five-year plan on what's going to be done.
Right. And will engineering and public works for the town of Truro be involved with that? And that preliminary planning, when we talked about some of the changes that have occurred in the last little while, the intent was to work with rec management and bring some of the engineering services, both from ourselves and the county, in on those, just to discuss that with building management. Okay. Because I really like the reporting system. I think it would be very helpful so we have a full understanding of the expenses and how projects are proceeding and et cetera. I think it's an excellent. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Good question with the reporting on transparency for the rec. I like it. And our final question for our director is going to be from see, you wore that hat a long time, Councillor, is going to be Councillor Talbot.
Yeah, I'd just like to very quickly circle back to the sidewalk clearing, because I've received calls as well. First of all, I'd like to thank the staff for the work that they are doing, the great work they're doing, the hours they're putting in. They're out there plowing while the rest of us are in bed sleeping. I think the public has to be a little tolerant. These major storms, perhaps we should have a service standard for storm conditions and a service standard for normal conditions. And lastly, for me, it makes no sense to talk about staffing up for extraordinary circumstances. That would not be a good business model. It does not make any sense in my opinion. These big storms are going to take a little longer to clear, and people have to be prepared to live with this. This is Atlantic Canada in February.
Thank you, Councillor. And we're moving on to our final report, Director Ashley Sims on Parks, Recreation, and Culture. Director.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. General maintenance continues throughout downtown, parks, fields, and trails. Outdoor winter activities are extremely popular, with hundreds of people using the Caldwell Road Heartland ice surface and our trail system daily. Users are reminded to expect and respect all users and share the space. Users are also reminded to be prepared for winter conditions, including icy trails. The 2026 Street Tree Planting Program planning is underway, with 88 applications received, and a tender has been awarded to Sid White Towing and Backhoeing for vegetation removal along 1.75 kilometers of overgrown fire and forest access road into Victoria Park. Our community drop-in programs are ongoing. For a list of our programs, please call Douglas Street Recreation Center or visit the town's website. As part of the Active Community Fund program, senior-focused activities were offered in January. These low-cost, low-barrier programs featured a different activity each week and were designed to support physical, mental, and social well-being. Movement was naturally incorporated into crafting sessions, encouraging physical activity alongside social connection, learning, and mental wellness. The program also helped reduce isolation, promote healthy aging, and included intergenerational engagement with the Boys and Girls Club. We are also offering now free sticks and pucks at the Colchester Legion Stadium on Monday afternoons. Those sessions to date have been very well attended. The winter equipment loan program is now in full operations. Snowshoes, cross-country skis, ice cleats, and headlamps are available for a 4-day loan from the Douglas Street Recreation Center. Equipment pickup takes place on Thursdays and Fridays, weather permitting. The skate loan program is managed through the Colchester East Hants Library with a library card. And upcoming, the Truro Winter Long John Festival will be taking place February 13th to the 16th. The event schedule can be found at trurolongjohn.ca. And throughout January, the town of Truro made an effort to recognize and celebrate important dates within our community. These include National Ribbon Skirt Day and Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. Questions for Director Sims? Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. Thank you for your report. It's great. The electrical upgrade for the stadium, I don't know if that would be for you or for, is it ongoing or is it done or is it?
It's, we do have it budgeted in the new fiscal year.
Okay.
So I think we're still waiting on a final solution design for the electrical, Mr. Browning, I think?
No, pardon me. We do have design on the actual upgraded electrical service for the stadium. What we need to do is figure out how we're going to engage the services. So we have our electrician of record or whatever have provided us a price or whatever to go and do the electrical component, but it's the other components around it that we're looking to see how we handle that. It's going to be the excavating. There's going to need to be a concrete pad for pad mount transformer. There's going to be some work on the interior or whatever of relocating electrical panels. So those are the kinds of things that weren't included with what we had for pricing already that we need to address.
Okay, so.
Yeah, we budgeted for the unit itself.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is out of the scope of the insurance claims. I'm taking it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I guess specifically, I'm asking for the heat in the dressing rooms and stuff. I hear that from people, but is that the reason? I'm telling them that's the reason why, because we need upgrades. But am I accurate when I tell them that? Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I have one more question in regards to the tender for the canteen. Has that gone out?
That we are in the middle of discussions right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, just was wondering about this evening adult drop-in recreational program, the badminton and basketball. Doesn't say where that location is.
Sure, sorry, Truro Middle School.
Yeah, Truro Middle School. Thank you. And what time of night is that, at 7 or something?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. I now call for a motion to accept all the committee reports. Councillor McGrath, seconder. Councillor Pryor. Any discussion on the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. On our agenda next is questions by members. Do we have any questions by members? Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. I just have a couple questions, or one question in regards to the rec meeting that was held on Friday. And was the CAO, Matt Moore, in attendance at that meeting?
Yes, he was.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. And your meetings with the rec management outside of that meeting, was he also with the senior management meetings? Was
He wasn't at the ones we have conducted. He's been away for a while, so he is back now. So any future meetings, likely, we probably wouldn't be having senior manager meetings anymore. We would just be meeting with Mr. Moore.
Okay.
So again, because again, they work for him, but at the time he was away, so we met with senior managers.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I just have a couple announcements. I just want to say that we had our kickoff yesterday for the African Heritage Month. It was very well attended. I want to thank Andrew Paris, who acted as Master of Ceremonies, and to our incredible staff members, Megan Burgess and Stephanie Rowe, who were so helpful and get everything organized as they always do. It's a very busy month as we celebrate African Heritage Month. There are events planned all along this month talks and the lunches, and they're kicking it off with their first time ever, the Black Excellence Gala on the 28th. So we're looking forward to that. And as Director Sims mentioned, also very busy this month with everything to do with the Long John Festival. And I just would remind everybody that Soup Fest is on February the 10th at the Farmers Market from 11 to 1. Always well attended and for a good cause with United Way. And on February 13th is a day to wear red. The town of Truro, they're asking them to wear red for the National Day to raise awareness for women's health and vascular disease. So if we could remember to wear our red, that day would be great. And I just want to say that I reached out to Souls Harbor in this cold weather, always wondering about people that may not have a roof over their head, and they are not at full capacity. They are located, the Connection Church at 38 Pleasant Street. They open from 9 to 9, and they do have a room for 20 people and can stretch it to 27. They have not been at full capacity yet. I was just speaking to Mitch at Souls Harbor on Friday, so I just wanted to give the last update there. So if just to make sure that I always, this time of year is very difficult for many that are struggling. I see Councillor McGrath, your light is on.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Wanted to raise questions again regarding the Hubtown Housing Cooperative correspondence that was sent to us at the January 12th meeting. And, Mr. Dolter had commented that we don't really have a lot of that information. So, Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we request staff to investigate the opportunities and options for providing tax-exempt relief to nonprofits who are providing affordable housing.
Any comments before we?
I think we'd need a seconder.
It's complicated because we've never gotten direction from council, or we haven't had a policy that this is a policy of ours to do this. So we can come up with some things, but I think it's a decision that council needs to provide some direction on, is whether or not, for existing nonprofits, whether or not we've had requests in the past and we have denied them on the basis that it didn't provide additional housing stock. So again, I think that's, again, we can certainly motion go forward, but I just need to raise that issue because again, we don't have any specific direction whether or not council is prepared to entertain this, and I don't want to go through the trouble of putting together a report and then council say, we're not interested in doing this. So we need that fundamental discussion, I think, before we go through too much to put this forward.
And if I may, that's sort of the basis of the motion, is to request information so the council can be better informed on what our options are, how we can better direct staff, because you're right, we do not currently have a policy for that. But in order to put a policy in place, we're going to need information.
Want to comment, Mr. Dalton?
Yeah, we can certainly do that. Like I said, to my knowledge, and we probably need to research it, most municipalities that have it in place are for construction of new units, as opposed to existing units providing tax incentives from that perspective. So again, council would have to understand what the implications of that are as well too, and what that cost would represent. And I'll have to get back to you on how soon we can address this right now, because we've got a lot going on. But again, it's up to council. We can certainly entertain. But again, I think we need to assess. Come back to council if council approves the motion.
Okay. Do you have the motion prepared, Councillor McGrath?
Only what I just said.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I didn't have anything written down. Sorry, I'm doing this on the fly.
Councillor Fleming will get the Eager Beaver Award today. So, all right, do you want to just read it, or just say generally give the motion, and then and we know that Councillor Fleming is going to second it. I'll put that in the record. So.
The motion being that council requests a staff report on the options available to council for providing tax-exempt relief to nonprofits who are providing affordable housing within the town of Truro.
Okay, so you've moved it. Councillor Fleming has seconded. Any discussion on this motion, council? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a Vote. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Okay, good. Councillor McGrath, you have something to say?
Yes, one more, Madam Mayor, thank you. We had received a presentation from Jeff Mercer of the he's head librarian, I believe, over at the Truro Library, about all the work that the library is doing. And I do believe when he had put that forward to us, was again talking about funding, that the funding models that the province should be footing, I believe it was 71 or 73% of the funding, and that model had sort of gone out of balance. I was wondering if council would consider having a letter written to Minister Ritchie on our behalf to ask the province to look into whether or not the funding model for the Truro libraries, if the province is meeting their expectations.
Thank you. Actually, we have a meeting coming up, Mr. Dolter, you and I, with Minister Ritchie. Would you be comfortable at that time, Councillor, if we brought that up and discussed that with him?
Depends on when that meeting is, because I know the province is looking at their budgets as well very soon. I want to make sure
It's
that
the
that request would
17th,
get.
isn't it? 17th of February.
17th of February, that is in 2 weeks' time. I think we would be better off getting a letter out sooner than that, Madam Mayor, but I would absolutely appreciate you bringing it up to Minister Ritchie at that meeting as well.
As well then as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Dolter, do you want to comment on that?
Just need a motion from council to have the letter written.
Okay. All right. Are you prepared to make that motion, Councillor?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Do you need me to write something out or read something out for you?
Just read it, please.
That the motion being the council, Truro Town Council, write a letter to Minister Ritchie requesting him to investigate the province funding the Truro Library to the degree that is set out under the current funding model.
Looking for a seconder. Councillor Pryor. All those in favor? Okay, and Councillor Talbot, you have a question?
Yeah, I do, because I think this concern is broader than Truro, and
possibly.
Will we consider going through the Union of Nova Scotia Municipalities, I guess is the question I want to ask, because of the power of numbers?
Thank you. Okay. At this point, we have a mover. We have a seconder. We'll take the vote. Any further discussion on this before the vote? All those in favor of supporting the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you. Mr. Dolder, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I'm
Okay.
just, no, it's good.
We're moving on to item 8 under new business. This is item 8A. It's a request for decision to set a public hearing date for 4648 Ford Street and 22 to 38 Rexdale Drive Development Agreement.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So an application by Wallace Retirement Living to permit a multi-unit residential development comprised of 4 buildings, 2 6-story 50 to 55 unit buildings and 2 4-story 35 to 40 unit buildings on lands off Marshland Drive with access via Rexdale Drive and Ford Street. The application was reviewed by the Town's Planning Advisory Committee at its August and December 2024 meetings. So, Madam Mayor, the proposed motion is be it resolved the council set a public hearing date for March 2nd, 2026 to consider entering into a development agreement with Wallace Retirement Living to permit 2 6-story 50 to 55 unit buildings and 2 4-story 35 to 40 unit buildings on lands off Marshland Drive with access off Rexdale Drive and Ford Street.
Thank you, Mr. Dolder. I'm looking for a mover. Councillor McGrath, seconder, Councillor Fleming. Any discussion on the motion? Councillor Talbot.
I'm just wondering, would this proposal encroach on that garden down there, that's the food garden?
I don't believe so. Yeah, I think the garden is actually on the opposite side of Marshland, I believe. But I'm
just wondering about we did receive a letter from that association expressing some concerns, and I don't know if we responded to that. I guess that's why I'm asking the question.
I guess I'm just wondering because if it was encroaching on it, I don't know enough about the location of that, but Mr. Fox, that hasn't been brought up previously on, in any of the,
No, and I'm not familiar with
Yeah.
the site. I'd have to have a look at the report that might be, there should be a report attached with an air photo there that might shed some light on that.
yeah, okay.
Should we add that to the motion, maybe?
Well, I mean, the thing is, just something we could take a look at. It may,
Yes.
again,
At the end of the day, if that community garden or whatever is on private property, then if it's part of this development, it's on private property, so I'm not sure we would have much ability
Yeah.
to say much
yeah.
about that.
Well, that's why I was going to raise that. If it's actually on that property, then it would have to be moved anyways, because again, it is private property.
Okay, thank you. So the motion has been made. It's been made by Councillor McGrath. It's been seconded by Councillor Fleming. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you very much. This now brings us to the end of our public council meeting. I want to thank all councillors, our presenters today, those joining us in the gallery, and those watching us on either Eastlink or online. Our next public council meeting is Monday, March the 2nd at 1 p.m. I'd ask you to please continue to be kind to each other and to be kind to our town. The February 2nd, 2026 Truro Town Council meeting is adjourned at 2:54 p.m. Happy and smiling, we're adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.